Hey, what's up, y'all? I want to talk about more about this Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia situation, because I'm getting the vibe and listening to some of these videos that a lot of people are kind of blaming Mikey Garcia and saying they knew Mikey Garcia was going to find a way to pull out of this fight, but in the article, uh, you know, Steve Espinosa and Showtime said that they wanted this fight to be a pay-per-view fight. So it has nothing to do with Mikey Garcia not wanting to fight. They view this fight as being a pay-per-view fight because I know people that watch boxing understand that when you have a prominent black fighter going up against a prominent Mexican fighter, they always try to profit the most off the fight. They try to get the most that they can off the fight because they understand these are the two most heightened and the most hyper fan bases. And when you have an adversary on both sides, you tend to want to put this on pay per view on a pay per view level. Now, I don't think this fight should be pay per view. I just think this fight should be. I mean, because I don't want to pay for it. I mean, I don't want to pay for this particular fight. Although I think it's an intriguing matchup, I don't want to. I don't think we should have to pay for this fight, man. I'm tired of the pay per view era. I just think a lot of these. I think because over the last 5 or 6 years, we paid so much in pay per view dollars that we should be getting some of these fights for free. That's my assessment. And people are my thing is this. See, the narrative is that Errol Spence is the boogeyman at 147 because Danny Garcia don't want to fight him. They say Danny Garcia don't want to fight him. They say Keith Thurman is running. He's faking injuries because he don't want to fight. They say Sean Porter is scared. But like I said, Crawford called Errol Spence out. Errol Spence said, "Go get the belt from Jeff Horn, then I'll fight you." Now he's saying he's on the wrong side of the street, the wrong side of the block. Crawford came back and said he owned the whole neighborhood. So Crawford said, "Hey, we can get the fight done. We can get the fight. Get our two camps, get the two people together, and work out the kinks, and let's get the fight going." Mikey Garcia, on the lead up to his Robert Easter fight bout, even a little bit before that, said that he wanted to fight Errol Spence. Now he did say he wanted to fight Keith Thurman last year, and as of recent, he said he wanted to fight Errol Spence. And my thing is this: not Danny Garcia, but Mikey Garcia is so confident because he said he had a meeting with Richard Schaefer and Al Heyman, and they both asked him, "Are you really serious? You want to fight Errol Spence?" And he said yes. See, this man, just like Deontay Wilder's confidence that people say against Joshua, that makes Joshua a little nervous. I'm not saying Mikey Garcia confidence makes Errol Spence nervous, but Mikey Garcia confidence makes Al Heyman a little nervous because the thing is this: boxing is all about narrative, and sometimes what is not really there, and people try to put out the perception that things are there and it's really not there. Now the narrative, like I said, is that Errol Spence is the boogeyman at 147. What if this guy, Mikey Garcia, come up from two weight classes? What if he come in this fight and he actually competes with Errol Spence and expose some things about Errol Spence, that to me I already know is there, but to have it confirmed, a lot of people have to have it confirmed. A lot of people can't see things, so the mass amount of the population has to actually see it right there in their face to believe it. And what if he come up here? What if Mikey Garcia come up here? Now he could get blown away, and that's the risk for Mikey Garcia. Like Richard Schaefer said on an interview that it's a risk for both fighters. And the risk for Mikey Garcia is he can get blown out. You know what I'm saying? And his stock will go down. But the risk for Errol Spence is Mikey Garcia actually going here and competes with him. Maybe Mikey Garcia loses on the scorecards, but it's a close fight. And people are actually arguing that Mikey Garcia won the fight. That's bad for Errol Spence, whether he wins or not. Whether he gets the nod on the scorecards or not. And then, and only then, people will look at Errol Spence different. Even his hardened, fans will say, how did he struggle versus a guy that came up two weight classes? Then I think people will start saying, well, Mikey Garcia, he's a great fighter. That's why Errol Spence, struggled or had a close fight. But in all accounts, I'm hearing people say that Errol Spence is going to knock him out in like 5 rounds, 3 rounds, going to blow him out. I don't think so. I don't think that's the case because Mikey Garcia has done countless interviews and saying that he has sparred with bigger fighters than Errol Spence. And I already knew that he's been in the ring with bigger fighters than Errol Spence. All these guys get in the ring with big guys. So they understand how, even at this top level, they understand how to handle themselves. They understand what kind of approach they want to take when they fight a big fighter. Mikey Garcia is a very smart fighter. He understands how to fight a big fighter. They said that he sparred countless of times with Marcus Maidana. We all know Marcus Maidana was a strong welterweight, a very strong welterweight. They said, Mikey was sparring with him when he was at 126. So, and cracked Marcus Maidana one of his ribs. So, like I said, this is a risk fight for both fighters. More so for Errol Spence because at least Mikey Garcia could say, well, I dare to be great. I went up 2 weight classes. But Errol Spence has no excuse not to knock this guy out or get this guy out of there in 5 or 6 rounds. Like, he has to get Mikey Garcia out of there for it to be a success for him. Mikey Garcia cannot go all 12 rounds and compete with Errol Spence. That's why Richard Chafin and Al Heyman, they thought that Mikey Garcia was not being forthright and honest and really saying that he wanted to fight Errol Spence. A lot of people just think that Mikey Garcia is using Errol Spence's name. I mean, like I said, Mikey Garcia been around for a little while. Mikey Garcia is more accomplished than Errol Spence. Well, you can say, well, he's more accomplished because his career started before Errol Spence. But yes, but Mikey Garcia did take 2 or 3 years off almost of his career in his prime. You know what I'm saying? He came back, moving up weight classes. I think he's a 4-time champion, 3-time champion. So, like I said, a lot of people think that Mikey Garcia was using Errol Spence's name. I don't think he was using Errol Spence's name. I think Mikey Garcia is very serious about fighting Errol Spence. He sees something. He sees that it's some holes in Errol Spence's game. Now, you have to be very strategic and very careful to get to those holes. But a guy like Mikey Garcia that's been around boxing a long time and been around boxing all his life, his brother was a successful fighter, and his I think his father or grandfather boxed or whatever. So he's been around the gym a long time. So when he sees things in a fighter, and Mikey Garcia is one of those fighters that, like a Terrence Crawford, like a Mayweather, they actually can break down your fight mentally first before they get in the ring with you. And then when they get in the ring with you, they can make adjustments on you. And like I said, Errol Spence does not make adjustments. And people will say, well, he knocks everybody out. That's why he don't make adjustments. Well, in that Kell Brook fight, even though he stopped Kell Brook, he did not make an adjustments in that fight. He just fought harder. He did not make an adjustment. He fought harder. He just did what he did much harder and he outlasted, Kell Brook. But like I said, it's a lot of people out there saying that Mikey Garcia weaseled out of the fight. No, go to the article on Boxing Scene. It will tell you why Showtime want this fight to be a pay-per-view fight. I mean, why they think it should be a pay-per-view fight. Even Richard Schaefer says it's a pay-per-view fight. And the reason why the fight is not going off this year is because the Deontay Wilder fight is now a pay-per-view fight versus Tyson Fury. And we all gotta realize that this fight right here between Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence was talked about before the Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder fight was even discussed. Mikey Garcia was calling out Errol Spence and talking about he wanted to fight Errol Spence at the end of the year before Tyson Fury and Wilder came to fruition. But you're going to always choose the bigger guys, the bigger well-known guys, especially heavyweights, over the smaller guys. That's just the way it is. And that fight is already signed for pay-per-view. So they said we don't want to cram too many pay-per-views close together because we still got Triple G versus Golovkin on pay-per-view. And they say it's too close to the holidays. But to me, Mikey Garcia is not ducking at the fight. Mikey Garcia still wants to fight, but I don't think the fight will happen. If it doesn't happen at the end of this year, I don't think it's gonna happen because Errol Spence has promised a Danny Garcia versus Sean Porter fight, and what unless he fights Mikey Garcia before he fight one of those guys. But let me know what y'all think, man. Subscribe to the channel. I'm out.